You're listening to the Confidence Coach Podcast, episode 70. What is worthiness? And how do we start to feel more worthy? Today I want to talk about worthiness, how to feel worthy, and what is worthiness? What does worthiness mean to you? I've had this conversation quite a bit in the last couple weeks, and really not feeling worthy or deserving of our goals is another thing that holds us back. We feel like we don't deserve it. We feel like we don't give enough value, or we're not good enough, or that we have to make a certain amount of money or look a certain way or do a certain thing before we can even get started in the direction of achieving our goals. But before I dive into that, I want to start by sharing the review of the week. This review is submitted by EJ Mills 17, 5-star review titled Love Sasha's Approach. Sasha is very real and honest in what she says and discusses in her podcast. She's an amazing motivator and is inspiring in how she approaches life's challenges. You'll definitely walk away with a new mindset after listening. Thank you, EJ Mills 17. That means so much to me, going through these reviews and just reading your guys' aha moments, or what you love, or what you think could improve on the podcast. Like, I'm open to any sort of feedback. So if you have not left a review yet, I'm going to invite you to pause right now and leave a review on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Please leave a review. I love hearing your feedback, and it just helps more people understand what this podcast is about and how it can benefit them too. So let's dive into today's topic of worthiness. How do we feel more worthy? And so there's a few things that I want to talk about, because I know that we have all experienced at least one of these. Okay. So hang with me here. The first thing that I want to talk about is comparison. That comparisonitis, right? We all freaking do it. We compare ourselves to people who are farther along. We don't typically compare ourselves to people who are not as far as us. There may be some jerks out there who are like, haha, sucker, you're not as far as me. But I don't find that is a really common thing. I find that when we compare ourselves, we typically compare ourselves to somebody who is 15, 20, hell, even 1,000 steps ahead of us. And then we kick ourselves in the ass because we're not there yet. When you may have just started your business, or you just hit your first 6-figure, or you just started your fitness journey, and you're comparing yourself to somebody who's been working out for 7 years. You've been comparing yourself to somebody who, jumped on the YouTube bandwagon 10 years ago, right? You're not starting where you're at. And the only person that you should ever compare yourself to is the person that you were yesterday. No matter how hard you try, you can't become me, you can't become Michelle Obama, you can't become Beyonce, you can't become fucking, Mother Teresa. Like, it's just never gonna happen. And so the only person that you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Am I 1% better than what I did yesterday? And if the answer is no, how can you improve that? It doesn't have to be anything drastic, you guys. If you take one step every day for an entire year, that's 365 steps, right? Versus if you just get stuck in that first step and never go anywhere, you're still going to be at that step 1 a year from now. And how is that going to feel? Okay. So with the comparison, there's 2 types of comparison that I do want to talk about, because there can be the inspirational, motivational, light a fire under your ass type of comparison, or there's the comparison where we get into like that negative mindset where we're like, wah, poor me, I can't do anything, I'm never going to be where that person is, blah, 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 blah. Everybody and their mom's already doing it. I've tried everything. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. You guys know how quickly we can spiral into our limiting beliefs, let our excuses take over, and be very, very stuck where we are at. So Comparison number one, if you follow people or see people in your life that inspire you to become better, by all means, surround yourself with those people and compare yourself by asking for feedback, right? So these people are uplifting, they're empowering, they want to share knowledge, they want to help you, they want to give you the tools and resources. Hell, that's part of the reason I started this podcast, because I want to help you guys. I want to give you the tools and resources that have worked for me to get me to where I'm at. And by no means am I done. It's not like I hit this like destination where I'm like, see you later, guys. Like I'm keep on trucking. Like the journey's forever. It doesn't stop till the day I die. And then even, maybe in my next life, I'll, up level some more. But surround yourself with those people who inspire you and want you to become better, that make you want to be better, where you're like, man, look at all the shit that she's done. That's really freaking cool. She's done this and this and this, and this is where she came from. And you start to become in awe with their story, right? And you start to question, like, why not me? Like, those are the people that you want to compare yourself to. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, the people that you do not want to compare yourself to are the people who make you feel bad about yourself, right? And this can even be pictures of yourself from 5 or 10 years ago. I was talking to somebody the other day, and she was saying, I feel bad about looking at pictures of myself 5 or 10 years ago because I'll never be where I was. And I just want to say, if that has a negative emotion, a negative response attached to it by comparing yourself to an old version of you, you need to let that old version go. You need to get rid of that picture. Do not keep those negative thoughts in the forefront of your mind, because what you focus on, you get more of. So when you feel like shit, you're going to continue to feel like shit unless you find something to change that pattern. Okay, so I want you to think of other people, other words, other things that inspire you, motivate you, light a fire under your ass, make you want to do better, be better, okay? And if you're ever following somebody on social media, or if you're listening to a podcast, or hell, if you're surrounded by negative Nancy's in your corporate environment, right? I want you to just think of your energy as a little tiny baby, okay? And you have to do everything in your power to protect that newborn. And for, a lot of my listeners are moms or want to be moms or are fur moms or something along those nature. I mean, there's some dudes that listen too. So guys, this is relevant to anybody who's listening. If you have ever cared for a child or a puppy, let's just say, because puppies were my children until I had real children. And you would do anything to make sure that harm stays away from that baby. You would never let somebody come up and be like, oh, what an ugly kid, throw it out the window. No, you would never allow that. So do not allow this comparison game, this negative energy to penetrate you, right? You have to keep that positive energy, that momentum, that ambition sacred. Okay. And I'm a very visual person. And so I always have to envision I'm actually walking around with a baby in my belly right now, but I mean, I have a daughter, and I'm just envisioning, I have this little ball of energy baby. Okay, how do I protect this baby? How do I protect this baby? Oh, by following this person, that makes me feel really bad. It brings my energy down. I feel drained. I feel depressed. I feel like I'm not good enough. Okay, delete, follow, unfollow that person. Stop listening to that podcast. Stop going into those meetings. Stop interacting with those people. You start to be very strategic with who you spend your time to and who you let interact with your baby. Okay. Next, I want to talk about criticizing. And this is criticizing others and criticizing yourself. But first, I want to talk about criticizing others. Holy shit. My dog just scared the bejesus out of me. Did you hear? Holy smokes. Apparently the mailman's here. Anyways. I'm just laughing. A lot of times we get stuck in this perfection mindset where if everything's not perfect, I can't keep going on. So I'm just going to roll with it. Sometimes your dog barks. Sometimes you don't look or feel 1000%, and that's okay. We're just going to go with it. So let's talk about criticizing others and criticizing yourself. So criticizing others, I know that you are just as guilty as I am. Don't even sit there like you're not. You judge Susie Q, or you talk about this person, or somebody walks in somewhere and you're like, oh my God, look at that person. Or I can't believe that person just said something. Or look at their hair, look at their makeup, blah, blah, blah. You criticize people, and you may not do it as much as you used to, but you still do. I still do. Hell, I catch myself and I'll say something like, oh my God, did you see those guys' pants? Or did you see that person? Did you hear what that person said? What a dumbass. And then I have to say, whoa, get off your high horse, Sasha, and send that person some freaking love. Show some appreciation, right? Like, what is good about that person? And while they may have terrible hair, maybe they have a great ability to speak to others. Maybe they have terrible shoes on, but their hair is really nice. I don't know. Find the good and appreciate everybody for who they are, where they are, and how they show up in the world, okay? When we start to tear others down, you're pointing a finger at somebody, you got a few coming right back at you. So if you want more love and appreciation and more worthiness within yourself, you need to give that to others. Okay, so check how often you are criticizing others, whether you actually say it out loud or you just say it in your head. Now, me, I tend to say things a lot of times out loud and maybe at inappropriate times. So I always have to check myself or catch myself or correct myself when I say and do these things. I wish that I said more in my head, but apparently that filter between the mouth and the brain is broken on my body and it just falls out of my mouth. And sometimes I say things I regret. So I try to show more appreciation and more gratitude for everybody because that's what I want in return. Like, I want people to appreciate me. I want people to respect me. I want people to know my value, know my worth, right? And so how do I project that out into the world, or how do I embody that? And that's by showing others that they are too appreciated, that I value them, that they are worthy, and that I can find the good in anybody. And so I challenge you, how can you appreciate others more? Now, on the other side of this, criticizing yourself. You are your own worst enemy. You are your biggest critic. You say terrible, mean, hurtful things to yourself that you would probably never say to another human. I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm worthless. There's nobody that will ever think that what I have to say is of value. This is stupid. This has already been done before. That person does it better. You're too fat. You're too skinny. Your nose is too big. You don't have enough skills. Whatever it is that you tell yourself, it's bullshit. Stop being so mean to yourself. When you start to love yourself, and I mean like really love yourself, you start to work on yourself because you love yourself, not because you hate yourself. And that was a big mindset shift for me when I first started in personal development. I wanted to be better because I hated who I was, not because I wanted to love myself and love the person who I was becoming. Fucking hated myself, man. I hated looking in the mirror. I thought I was ugly. I thought I was worthless. I thought nobody cared what I had to say. And growing up, a lot of times I heard that. Sasha, who do you think you are? You're just a piece of shit. Blah, 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 blah. Right? And I started to tell myself those stories. Every day I wake up and I'd be like, wow, you are such a piece of shit. Tell me what successful person or inspirational, motivational, whatever. Tell me, what person do you look up to that calls themselves a piece of shit? Nobody. And another big wake up for me was when, my kids, man, like, I don't want my kids going around being like, oh yeah, my mom called herself a piece of shit all the time, so now I must be a piece of shit. Like, monkey see, monkey do. And I had to dig real deep and start to love myself for all that I was and all that I could be, that I will be, that I am doing. And I had to love my old self too. When I work with my clients, I tell them to envision them talking to the 5-year-old version of themselves. And when I first started to do this work, it would make me cry every time I would say those mean, hurtful things to 5-year-old Sasha. It would be, it was just such a kick in the ass. I'm like, why? I would never talk to a 5-year-old like that. Why do I talk to myself like that? You speak to your inner child the way that you want to be. How do I want to say this? Speak to your 5-year-old self, your inner child, just like you would any other 5-year-old or child. Speak words of encouragement and of love to yourself. And I promise you, you will open up a whole new level of momentum and energy and abundance when you start to love yourself, because your cup is going to be so full that you are going to overflow into others. And this work is not easy, my friends. It is not easy. Loving yourself and asking for help are probably two of the hardest things I think I have ever done in my entire life. But I did it. I would force myself, kid you not, to look in the mirror and say, I love you, Sasha. You are worthy. You are enough. You are smart. You are talented. You are beautiful. And you can do this. You have been through worse. You can get through this. And I'm telling you, it's those mental challenges that are way harder than any physical challenge. I'm a physical person, right? Like, I have pushed my body to some extremes. That's easy, right? Push-ups, roller derby, motorcycles, demo car, whatever. That's easy, right? I can force myself. I can push myself to do a gladiator race. Push myself to look in the mirror and say, I love you. Makes me want to vomit. Makes me want to run and hide. Makes me want to crawl under a rock. Vulnerability is hard. I don't care what anybody says. Vulnerability, being authentic and loving yourself for who you are, is hard. But when you do, when you start to really love yourself, you want better for yourself. And so now, instead of investing in quick fixes or like diets or like get rich quick schemes, whatever there frickin' is out there, I focus on my education. I focus on knowledge and empowerment and mindfulness and energy work and gratitude and appreciation and all of these things that I thought were total BS years ago. But that is the real secret to success, is when you can overcome your fear and be confident in who you are as a human and be able to recognize your limiting beliefs for what they are. They're excuses. The world is your oyster, my friends. You can do anything that you set your mind to, but you have to have the right tools and strategies to get your mind right. And when you can start to recognize your mind and all that it can do, I'm telling you, you can do incredible, incredible, incredible things. Okay? So I want to challenge you to come up with a list of the things that you are great at right now. Come up with 10 things that you are amazing at that make you unique. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You are your superpower. Your stories, your history, your beliefs, your core values, I should say, not your beliefs, your core values. These things make you who you are. Share them, embody them, embrace them. I encourage you to do these things. Okay. What are you great at? And when you start to focus on the things that you're great at, you're going to see all of the accomplishments, all of the achievements, all of the things that you really have done in a lifetime. And this may be hard. And this is where somebody like myself comes in and is very helpful, right? Because I'll ask you the right questions to get your mind thinking. Because when we're in a negative mindset or in a lack mindset, or we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, we just draw a blank. We're like, I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know. And the blocks are so huge that you cannot connect the dots. You're like looking and you're like, I'm drawing a blank. I have no idea. That was one of my biggest go-to phrases when I first started personal development. I don't know. And I'm telling you that that's a block, that's a challenge, that's an obstacle, that is resistance at its finest. And it is very helpful when you have somebody to be able to guide you and walk you through that. But you guys, all in all, you are human, you are worthy, and you are enough. Okay? You are good enough right now. You are deserving right now. You don't have to wait to earn your spot. You don't have to wait to fit in. You can take action steps today to achieving your goals. You just have to put one foot in front of the other. That's all you have to do. Encourage yourself, encourage one another. Stop beating yourself up. Stop comparing yourself to people who are farther along. Start hanging out with people who are going to lift you up, who want the best for you, who are going to challenge you to be better, who are not going to let you stand by or get stuck on your small mind, on your limited beliefs, on your excuses. Have somebody call you out on your bullshit and be like, hey, I know you can do more than this. What's going on? Do more. Be more. Be better. Be you. Be you and mean it. Be comfortable and confident in who you are. And when you start to hang out with those people who love and accept you for who you are and where you're at and still want to push you, those are your people. That is your tribe. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, start searching. Start asking questions. Find people who you want to hang out with and find out how you can be in their inner circle. You might have to join a mastermind. You might have to join a coaching program. You might have to join a network marketing. You might have to join another group or community service or there's tons of things out there. There's book clubs and Facebook groups and Toastmasters and roller derby and recreational sports. And, there's tons of things. Like I've been in horseback riding clubs. I memean, there's 4-H's. There's tons and tons of things out there. You just have to put in the work to find your people. You have to find your people. And when you find those people, you start to feel that community, that connection. You start to feel worthy, like you fit in, like you are deserving. You start to feel like you can conquer the world because you got you at your finest and you got your team to support you, your tribe to support you, your community, your family, whatever that looks like, right? And don't get hung up on the family has to support you. That's another topic for another episode. But as much as we want certain people to love and accept us for who they are or who we are, not everybody's willing to. And you just have to figure out what you want more, to make other people comfortable or to become the best version of you. What's going to sit? How's that going to sit when you're 65 years old on your, you're retiring or, you're 100 years old on your deathbed and you're like, man, I'm really glad that I made everybody else comfortable my whole life. How does that feel? Say that out loud to yourself and see how that feels. If you're okay with it, then by all means, make everybody else comfortable. If that's what floats your boat, go for it. For me, that was not how I wanted to roll. I was so sick and tired of wasting energy on making everybody else comfortable. And because I was too big of a dreamer, because I thought things were possible beyond what other people thought possible. And so now I surround myself with dreamers and strategists and coaches and masterminds and education and all of these things to expand my knowledge. And then I share it with you guys. It's not like I lock it all up and I'm like, haha, all this shit's under lock and key. Nobody can have this information. I crack myself up sometimes. I want to share it with you guys. I want to share it with everybody. Like everybody should be able to feel this damn good and help others feel this damn good. You deserve everything. You deserve the courses. You deserve the clients. You deserve the money. You deserve the perfect body. You deserve the happy family and the vacations and the big house and the nice car. You deserve it all. But you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. You can't just expect it to be a handout. You have to do something for it. And typically that's diving deep and just going for it. Just going for it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for showing up as yourself and accepting me as myself. Send me an email. Let me know what your comments are on worthiness. What does worthiness mean to you? And if you haven't yet, please, again, I'm going to ask you to pause this right now and leave a review on this podcast. Tell me if you loved this episode, what you loved about it, what your favorite episode was. Hell, write a review on me. What do you think? You like it? You love it? You hate it? Tell me all the things. I love reading feedback. All right, guys, go out there, be a badass, conquer your goals. I'll catch you next time.